24.5% over.
How you feeling, Dave?
It's no,
A long struggle, as you
and
know.
that's fine. That's
And
part of the process.
it's been over a week that I've been off all medicines, and I surely but slowly am well. I don't know if the medicine was keeping me, but I still have been struggling this week with some coughing and congestion, but chin down, I feel fine, have for weeks. You know, even when I saw you at Andy's that day. It's just from here, I mean, let's go. Live streaming? Oh, yeah, we're right there.
Regular meeting of Clear Lake City Council of Monday, May 4th, 2020 shall come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I want to give the location of various people that will be involved in the meeting tonight. On conference call, we have Chief Pete Roth, we have Mr. Joe Weigel, Supervisor of Public Works, we have Mr. Jason Petersburg with Veenstra and Kim, and we have Mr. Chad Schreck with the North Iowa Corridor. Those are all on conference call. Location here tonight, to my left, we have City Clerk Jennifer Larson. To my far right, we have Councilman Dana Brandt. Directly in front of Dana, again down, and to my right, we have Councilman Bennett Smith. To my left, in front of the dais, we have Councilman Mike Callahan. In the audience, we have Mr. Scott Flory, and we have our City Attorney, Mr. John Sorensen. Welcome to tonight's meeting. Need approval of the agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Bennett that we approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same. I forgot to mention that also on the conference call, we have Councilman Hugie and Councilman Ebling. To the consent agenda. 3A, you have a copy of the minutes of April 20th, 2020. We need approval of the bills and claims, of which you have a copy. Following license and permits: liquor license Class C, liquor license LC, commercial with outdoor service and Sunday sales. That's Sunset Sharky's Pub and Grub. We have Class B, B permit with outdoor service and Sunday sales. It's the Lake Time Brewery. We have Class C, liquor license, Class B wine permit with outdoor service and Sunday sales. That's the K&B Emporium. Those are renewals. We have a Class C beer permit, Class B wine permit with Sunday sales. Quick Star, number 1066, that's new. We have cigarette permit, Quick Star, number 1066, new. We have Casey's, number 1896. We have Casey's, number 1427. We have Come and Go, number 301. And we have Come and Go, number 302. Those are renewals. We have a peddler's license, Perry's Sweet Treats, that's renewal. We have excavators licenses, Mayor's Digging, that's M-A-Y-E-R apostrophe S. And we have Hannig Construction, Rockwell, those are renewals. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
So offered.
Second.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Dana, that we approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. We have number 4, unfinished business, of which we have none. Number 5, new business. 5A, 2020 city budget amendment. Number 2, review, Mr. Flory. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. The purple sheets in your packet address this item. Just walk through that with you here real quick. Essentially, that first page is a notice of public hearing on an amendment to the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget. So that's the actual notice that would be published in the newspaper. The proposed date of publication for that will be this Wednesday, May 6th. And it prescribes that the public hearing date will be 6 p.m., May 18th, 2020. Essentially, the middle column there, the current amendment amount, that's in the amount of $1 million. That's reflective of what the proposed amendment is for fiscal year 20. This is, again, our second budget amendment for fiscal year 20. The first is, of course, in conjunction with the approval of the fiscal year 21 budget process. On the back side of that, I've just prepared a little kind of analysis of what the budget amendment number 2 for expenditures entails. And again, some of these things you're well acquainted with. So, for example, we did not anticipate having the various economic development initiatives that we recently approved as part of our fiscal year 20 budget. So that's incorporated into this amendment number 2 proposal. And you can see those costs reflected there also. The communication system upgrade, that's the dispatcher system for the police department. That was proposed for fiscal year 21. And the chief and captain were able to get that bumped up into fiscal year 20. There were some concerns they had related to availability of the equipment with the COVID situation and everything. So essentially, again, that's some of these are not new items. They're more or less reallocating them from one budget year to the next. So while that item looks like an amendment, and it is, to our fiscal year 20 budget, is also something that was in our fiscal year 21 budget and will no longer be in our fiscal year 21 budget, obviously. So again, kind of working our way down that list there, the hotel conference center project, $225,000 in the budget amendment for that, and that is $150,000 incentive grant if the project breaks ground, starts construction by June 15th, as well as same thing holds on the partial reimbursement of the application fee to Marriott Corporation. If you remember me telling you that was $75,000, and we would agree as part of that memorandum of understanding that we approved a couple meetings ago to reimburse the developer up to $50,000 on that. So that's $200,000, and then there's various legal, administrative, and civil engineering fees along with that project as well that we've included that we think will happen prior to June 30th. So. Then City Hall, some plexiglass that we've had installed out there in anticipation of opening up the office back to the public here at some point. We're having plexiglass installed out there on the front counter. We'll spend a little time on this one on capital projects. You'll see East Main Phase 2, and what we have there is we've had some dialogue with the contractor for Phase 2, which will be, of course, Wix Construction of Decorah. On the project had a start date of approximately July 13th, and so we have talked to Wix about the probability that we maybe could be starting that early. Obviously, that's subject to further determination on 4th of July events. So in particular here, we'd be talking about the parade. So this involved the segments from basically 14th Street to 20th Street here. So Wix has indicated that they could probably start early. We don't have anything definitive yet on that. So essentially what this does is identify if we were with the contractor to start earlier than what we had anticipated, how much work would we project that you would have construction work completed prior to June 30th. So this is Jason, Joe, and the contractor's best estimate as to the amount of construction work that should we be able to start on it early, given those time parameters. This is the amount of work that we think we would, construction work, we would think we'd be able to have accomplished there. So essentially it's about $288,000 worth of construction work, and you see how we've broken that down. So the enterprise funds, basically $188,000 worth of work there, and we're talking about water, storm sewer, and sanitary sewer work, and the rest of it, of course, being just street improvements, general conditions, et cetera there. So again, that's subject to further clarification from the governor. As we know, right now, there is, through the proclamation, a prohibition on mass gatherings through May 15th. So on May 15th, we'll have a better understanding as to where things are going in terms of being able to hold things like parades, mass gatherings, those kinds of things. So at that point, we'd probably be in a position to start with our partners, evaluating, make a better determination as to the probability of having the parade, or at least that route in particular, as it relates again to this project. So again, nothing has been made official in terms of any discussions on that, just kind of talking with the contractor. If that were to be a situation, could you start early? The answer is yes, not real early, but could start early. And how much work, if you could start early, could we anticipate that you would have done by June 30th? And so again, it's just really laying, I think it's a fantastic strategy, brilliant, to be prepared to address it at that point. So not to be able to say, let that time go wasted. So no guarantee they will start, but if they would, this puts us in a position that if we don't have a parade, that we could start on that project early. So again, you've been through this before on our budget amendment. State law requires that, again, we have all final amendments by May 31st. So we've had a second budget amendment for the last few years. That's, and especially with the situation involving the COVID situation, I would anticipate if it's not every single city in the state, I'll guess in the high 90% are having a second budget amendment for unforeseeable expenses. So we have to, as I mentioned earlier, publish the notice in the newspaper, then hold the public hearing, and then certify the budget amendment into the state all prior to May 31st. So those are really the relevant items for the amendment. Just in terms of the total budget, how it's revised. So the fiscal year 20 budget would now have revenues of $18,702,878 and expenses of $16,264,954. So I'd be happy to answer any of those questions. Again, prior to your action on the resolution to set the date for the public hearing on the proposal for budget amendment number 2. Any issues in the budget amendment proposal that need further clarification? I'd be happy to answer any of those.
Council, any questions for Scott? Thank you, Scott. Therefore, I'll entertain a motion to set the date for a public hearing with regard to the 2020 city budget amendment number 2 on May 18th, 2020 at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers, and direct city clerk to publish notice of that hearing by this council. Motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Mike, that we approve the date for the public hearing and direct the city clerk to publish notice of same with regard to the 2020 city budget amendment number 2. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you. 5B, Clear Lake 2020 Alley Improvement Project. Intro, Mr. Flory.
Thanks again, Mayor, Council. Green sheets in your packet. Just run through this one real quick. The first green sheet is a summary of the bids. It was, of course, just one bid received on this project. There were 4 contractors holding plans on this project. Did have just the one bidder, Heartland Asphalt of Mason City. You'll note from Jason's bid summary that the engineer's opinion of the probable cost of construction was $226,851.50. Heartland Asphalt, Mason City, submitted the lowest responsible bid. That was in the amount of $282,347.27. So nearly 25% more than what the engineer's estimate of the probable cost of construction was. So well over the budget allocation here on this project without any question. Again, Jason will review the bid tabulation and his recommendation with you on that, but for this evening, of course, previously the council has set the date for the public hearing on the proposed plan, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for this project. So that tan sheet in your packet is the resolution approving the plans and specs for the project, and Mike and I had talked about this earlier, as well as Nelson. It's appropriate to pass that and continue on with that, and at some point in the future, if the council decides to revisit this project, then we've already completed the public hearing that we're required to have on the plan specs, so that portion of the project is done. Absent any sort of tweaking significantly of the plans and specs, then we could just, at some point later on, re-advertise for bids and hold another bid letting and not have to duplicate another hearing on the plans and specs. So that's definitely the direction that we'd be heading with that. The next sheet, the pink sheet, is a resolution rejecting the bids for the 2020 alley improvement project. And then after that one, this is kind of an either-or. The gray sheet would be a resolution making an award of contract for the 2020 alley improvement project. So again, it's one or the other on that one, whatever the council's pleasure is with respect to that. But again, I would just add that this, again, disappointing. It came in significantly over what our budget and what the estimate was on this project. So I thought maybe we'd see a little better bid numbers on this, but not the case. So. And I don't have anything further on this one. I have not received any written communication regarding the project or the plans and specifications prior to the hearing.
Council, any questions, Scott? Thank you, Scott. Now we have a review of the bid letting and recommendation regarding award of contract. Mr. Petersburg with Veenstra and Kim. Welcome, Jason. Jason is here on conference phone. Jason?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. As Scott indicated, there was only one bid received for this project. Bids were received last Thursday, April 30th. The bid amount is $282,347.27, which is 24.5% above the engineer's estimate. Reviewing their bid items in detail, bid item 1.9, there was a bad quantity there. We could potentially lower their bid by about $18,000 or $20,000 on that item itself. Construction survey, their bid amount was significantly higher than our estimate. When we did the design of this project to keep our fee down for the design end of it, we did not do a topographic survey of all of the alleys. Based on their fee, it would appear that they are looking at doing a topographic survey before they actually pave those alleys, which would explain why their fee is that much higher. All in all, the bid prices are pretty consistently above what we had estimated. This isn't an easy project by any means, which is reflected in the bid. If you look at the overall average, we're exceeding $50 a square yard for the paving price here itself. With the reduction in the road use tax, council has identified in the past that this is a possible project to cut. As such, as far over estimate as it is, V&K does recommend rejecting the bid and considering this project again at a later date. Questions on the bid tab?
Council, any questions of Jason? Thank you, Jason. Now is the time and place for the public hearing with regard to the Clear Lake 2020 Alley Improvement Project. If there's anyone that wishes to address that particular issue, please approach the podium, state your name first and last, and give your address so the clerk can properly enter it in the minutes. It's not a discussion time, nor a question and answer time, but a time for you to state your opinion for or against. None appearing, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Bennett, that we close the public hearing with regard to the Clear Lake 2020 Alley Improvement Project. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Same. Motion carries. Thank you. Any discussion at all prior to us moving to Resolution 2034, Council? None appearing, I'll entertain a motion then to approve Resolution 2034, which is a resolution approving the plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost with regard to the Clear Lake 2020 Alley Improvement Project. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Mike, that we approve Resolution 2034. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Mark? Mike?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
And Gary?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0, and Resolution 2034 is duly adopted. And now we need to take action on Resolution 2035. And that action shall be a resolution that would reject all bids or a resolution of making an award of contract. I'll entertain a motion with regard to one of those options.
I would move that we reject all of the bids.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we reject all bids with regard to the Clear Lake 2020 Alley Improvement Project and thus Resolution 2035. Is there any discussion?
Just a quick comment. You know, I think this one became very obvious and very easy to do this action based on the bid and the large amount above it. We are facing some uncertain times economically for all cities, including Clear Lake. The revenue streams might be considerably off, and in light of all of that, this project seems to be kind of a luxury that I think is pretty easy to bypass. Not to demean the people that live along those alleys, but I did spend some time riding through all of those alleys, and you know, they serve a few people, but not too terribly many. So I would express those sentiments that we need to table this one at this point and possibly consider it at a later date.
Any other discussion, Council?
Yeah, I would just agree with that. I think with the decline in the road use tax money that we were going to use to pay for this, it makes total sense to put this off at this time. So, good idea.
Any other discussion? Okay, I'll do a roll call. This is with regard to rejecting all bids on the Clear Lake 2020 Alley Improvement Project and thus not approving Resolution 2035. Roll call. Mike?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
And Mark?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0, and Resolution 2035 is rejected. Thank you. Move on to 6C, City Beach Enhancement Project, Phases 1 and 2. Review, Mr. Flory.
Thank you, Mayor. As Mayor indicated, this is for Phase 1 of the project. It's pay application number 2. Of course, contractor was Dean Snyder Construction here in Clear Lake on that project. The current amount due on this pay estimate number 2 is $22,535.61. That leaves the amount left to finish out the contract at $12,286.09. So that's essentially the retainage amount there. I did also include, I thought we had not approved change order number 2, but we actually had approved change order number 2, and those are the pink sheets here in the packet. That was actually approved back in January. So I don't really know why we hadn't gotten this pay estimate from Snyder until now, but this work has been done for some time, obviously. They just have a punch list of items that they're working on to finish out the project, and we anticipate that the final pay estimate, which would be pay estimate number 3 for the retainage amount, will probably be coming at the next meeting, or certainly within 2 meetings that time. But we did put change order number 2 in the packet there so that you can see that was, again, primarily to deal with some of the hauling of some contaminated soil and water and some of those issues, as well as adding a 12-inch diameter valve on that one. So just put that in there for your reference. But again, tonight is just the pay application number 2 for phase 1 of the project to Dean Snyder Construction, the amount $22,535.61. If anybody has any questions?
Questions? We'll take action on that now, Scott? or do you
Yeah,
wanna-
and I'll just jump into number 3.
All right.
Same project, thanks, Mayor. The green sheets in your packet, different contractor. This is pay application number 3 for Peterson Construction, Webster City, general contractor here. This pay application is the amount of $247,950. And this work, I'll just had the engineer give me a synopsis. I'll just read that for you, what the work covered by this pay estimate includes. It consists of general conditions, restroom, building progress includes masonry, slab on grade, structural joists, mechanical and electrical rough ends. Site work progress includes installation of storm sewer lines, storm sewer intakes, mass site excavation, concrete work for one of the retaining walls has been complete. Splash pad progress includes installation of sand traps, splash pad manhole, and associated piping, splash pad features and lights, along with associated water supply and drainage piping. Splash pad concrete work will be starting as the fine grading of concrete placement will begin this week. Of course, change order number 1 included the sand trap that was put in due to the higher water table elevation than anticipated. Next week should see consist of the restroom building roof framing. Site work consist of concrete work for the remaining retaining wall and site light pole bases. Splash pad work will consist of concrete forming and placement, as well as setting remaining features and associated piping. So, if you've been down there, Mayor and I got a chance to go down there and get a up close and personal look. A lot of work's being done down there. Good, active crew. I think Nelson City counted when we were there 10, 14 guys, whatever the number was. A significant crew down there. And I've even talked to them about their completion date, not knowing for certain where we'll be at with the governor's proclamation on swimming pools and splash pads and where that may be, but they're on target to be complete about the middle of June. So if I entice them, if maybe time wasn't of the essence, that if we could work out some kind of adjustment in their contract because of that. They said, no, we're committed here. We want to be done by June 15th, so they want to be done and out of here by the completion date, so that's always a good thing.
Very impressed with the project and the work and crew that's involved down there. Very impressive.
Yeah, and I would just add, Peterson has a significant home ownership presence here, and one thing that's been clear through the project is they're vested in Clear Lake, and they want this to be a good project. Of course, they built the aquatic center for us, but they want this to be a good project. They care about the community.
Any questions for Scott, Council?
Don't have any questions, but a quick comment. Mark and I were fortunate enough to be involved in the planning of this project, and it's really fun to see it come to fruition. I still think it's going to be a wonderful project for Clear Lake. It brings to mind an Anne Murray song, A Little Good News, which I think we can all use right now. And I think this is going to be a little good news for Clear Lake upon completion. and we'll all hope we actually get an opportunity to use it this summer and, you know, enjoy the fruits of their labor down there. But I'm very excited about it.
Be a great enhancement to our beach area, which we have continually worked on for the last 15 years anyway. It's really neat. Thank you, Scott. For entertain a motion to approve pay estimate number 2 in phase 1 in the amount of $22,535.61, and that's to Dean Snyder Construction Company, Clear Lake, Iowa. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Mike, that we approve pay estimate number 2 with regard to City Beach Enhancement Project. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. And now, I'll entertain a motion to approve pay estimate number 3 in phase 2 in the amount of $247,950 to Peterson Construction of Webster City, Iowa. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Mike, that we approve pay estimate number 3 in phase 2. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 5-0 on each of those. And to 6D, Urban Renewal Plan Amendment, Courtway Park Subdivision, Marriott Hotel and Conference Center Project. Review, Mr. Flory.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Purple sheets in your packet address this item. The first purple sheet's a resolution that sets the date for the public hearing on the 2020 number 1 amendment to the Urban Renewal Plan for the Clear Lake Consolidated Urban Renewal Area. Again, that sets the date for the public hearing as June 1st, so I believe we're anticipating publishing that on May 20th. It's just a 4 and 20-day notice there. So the notice of the public hearing is on the next purple sheet. Again, that's what will be published in the newspaper, just indicating that there's an economic development project with a private developer that will include a hotel and conference center and event meeting center space, Marriott brand hotel, 85 rooms, and the conference center would have space for approximately 450 persons. Again, some of this is all, of course, from the memorandum of understanding that the city executed with the developer. City would offer a forgivable loan to the developer in an amount not to exceed $1,200,000 that would be funded from incremental property tax revenues. City would also offer the developer an incremental property tax rebate agreement for 10 years in an amount not to exceed $1,500,000, subject to annual appropriation. And additionally, $300,000 in incentive payments that would be made available to the developer from incremental taxes. And again, that's the part I mentioned in the budget number 2 amendment. If ground is broken, start construction prior to June 15th, there'd be that $150,000 incentive there, as well as if the project was completed by June 15th of 2021, there would be a $150,000 incentive there as well. So the backside of the next purple sheet is the actual urban renewal plan amendment itself, and so that would be what is sent. We're by law required to hold a consultation meeting with the school district and county, and on the next white sheet there you'll see that is a letter from me to the Board of Supervisors and the Superintendent of the Clear Lake Community School District indicating that we're going to have a consultation meeting on May 13th, 11 o'clock at City Hall to talk about the Urban Renewal Plan Amendment proposal and inviting their consideration to attending or commenting if they wish. So, and I don't have anything further on that. I would just indicate that I have gotten a copy from the developer of the legal documents from Marriott Corporation, and I was going to forward that on, just the cover sheet on to some of you. It's kind of neat to see Marriott Hotel in Clear Lake, Iowa, with their logo on it and everything. So it's probably the most complex, it's a franchise agreement, most complex legal document I think I've ever seen. I don't know if I'd go as far as to say is they can't change a light bulb without getting it blessed by Marriott, but it's awful close. So they're definitely a very strict, I guess, corporation on that regard. So I think it's very exciting. It's still very good conversations with the developer. I believe they're going to get started using Jason's firm on civil engineering work. So I think things are progressing there. Given these economic conditions where we're adhering 20% unemployment, to say that we could have a $13 million hotel and conference center under construction by June 15th is, well, I'd say that's pretty special.
Any questions, Scott, council? Once again, thanks, Scott.
Yep.
Therefore, entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2036, which is a resolution setting the date for a public hearing, and that shall be June 1st, 2020, 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. 2020-1, amendment to the urban renewal plan for the Clear Lake Consolidated Urban Renewal Area. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Bennett, that we approve Resolution 2036. Is there any discussion? Roll call. Dana?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
And Mike?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Resolution 2036 is duly adopted. Thank you. And to number 7 on the agenda, Chief of Police report. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Nothing much really tonight. Your packet is our March statistics in the back of your packet, blue sheet. And the only other thing I have to add is tomorrow is our monthly siren test. And that's all I have unless you have any other questions.
Council, any questions for Chief?
Just one. How do the officers like the hybrid squad?
Well, they like it a lot, actually. It's kind of hard to tell if we're saving any gas because gas is so low right now, but
Yeah.
it actually has more room, and they actually made some cosmetic changes to the interior that they really do like.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Chief? Thanks, Chief. Under Mayor's report, we'll call on Mr. Schreck. Chad, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Welcome, Chad.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate the time tonight. I guess I just wanted to take a few minutes to give a quick update on the grant program. And again, thank you all for your support of that and assistance in making that happen. I think it's been very well received. And it's been a learning experience on our end, a lot to figure out as part of that process, but I think it's come together really well. Through the close of applications on April 24th, we had 150 total applications, and we completed the first phase of the review process this past Wednesday and have made notifications to 120 initial grant awardees this past Friday, and we wanted to notify those folks before we release everything publicly. We've started that process and had a great response, very appreciative folks from that, again, of the city and your investment in this effort. Of those initial round of applications, we had $416,000 in total so far awarded. 130,000 of those in Clear Lake specifically, with the remainder between the county and Mason City. So we have about 100,000 in total remaining in the fund that we are going to be evaluating and determining the next steps for that. In this first phase, we really focused in on the impact to the business on the coronavirus, things like being shut down, unable to be open, of course, loss of revenue, those types of things. Need, their ongoing expenses, fixed expenses, things of that nature. Had they received prior funding, either from the Iowa Economic Development Authority or the federal program, and also the impact of the grant on the company itself. You know, is $5,000 or $3,000, whatever the amount, going to play a significant role in keeping that business going? So we felt like we had a really good system to utilize and be objective as we could be with each of those applications, and the process went very well. So we'll be rolling out all those details more fully here this week. Again, as we get agreement signed with folks and through the process, and then moving to the next step, we'll be looking back at some of those initial applications that applied that maybe didn't get funded because they already received outside grant funding, as well as some of the other pre-applications to see if some of those might want to consider full applications and see where we end up at that point. So that's kind of where we're at with it right now. We'll continue to move forward. We've been really fortunate. One of the things that we saw that was really helpful in being able to spread that money around is that we did have 45 businesses so far in our county that received the Iowa Economic Development Funding or grant program, and that totaled almost just shy of $900,000 in the county. So that was a big boost as well that helped us to really spread that impact around more to other businesses that hadn't been so fortunate yet. And we've also seen a significant amount of the Payroll Protection Program and the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Funds from SBA come through. So our local banks have done just a phenomenal job of working with local businesses to get those funds here as well. So again, we've been really fortunate, and it's been really frankly, a really positive and encouraging sign to see how much assistance our businesses have been able to get. And really how positive they were about their capacity to continue forward. Obviously, many are very frightened or worried, but by and large, very positive about their prospects moving forward, especially with some of this help coming through. So I just, again, thank you so much for your work on this and your commitment to it and to our local businesses. It really is a big deal.
Council, any questions for Chad? Well done, Chad. Great leadership. Tough job, really is. And appreciate what you and your staff and the chambers have done collectively with regard to this issue. Thanks, Chad. I assume Stacy Dawn is not on the phone, is that correct? And I assume Doug Myers, Police Chief, is not on the phone. With regard to Doug, he sent me a note with regard, this is council members now, with regard to all the department activity in the month of April, and I just got this recently, and if you'd like to see a copy of this, please see me after the meeting. But there's a communique that he has here, and he says, as you read this activity report, once again, as compared to last year's similar timeframes, the total activity responses are down 12.9% year-to-date and 26% for the month of April. When we look specifically at EMS responses, those numbers are 36% for April and 12.3% year-to-date. And then he's got a personal note here that I think is very, very positive with regard to our fire department. And he states, a team of our department's volunteer firefighters were the group to locate the missing boater fishermen on the Winnebago River last Saturday. That's a week ago, Saturday. So well done, Clear Lake Fire Department, volunteer firefighters, and thank you for this report, Doug. Just a note before we conclude this report, as nice weather comes along, and I understand these next 2 weeks may not be quite as nice as the week that we have just come through, but as weather becomes more conducive for people to get out and about and travel, I've seen at least these past weekends and week, we have quite an influx of visitors that have come to our town, and we welcome them, we really do. But all of us, both local citizens and visitors, we need to follow for our own health during this critical time. You know, the key things that we've heard over and over and over again, and I think we need to get those in our head. That is, be aware of social distancing, you know, mask up when and if the opportunity is needed in your mind. Please remember to keep groups no more than 10. And, you know, as they say, make sure you wash your hands almost continuously anymore. You know, I have seen a number of groups around town congregate in lawn chairs in people's driveways. I've seen the surf parking lot used a lot. And we have to get out. We all know that. But please be very, very cautious during this critical time in our lives. Last two words, be safe. Mr. Weigel, Public Work Director's report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just like to set a date for a fall large item pickup. We're going to cancel the spring one and then basically move up the fall pickup 1 month earlier than what it typically is. So I'm recommending that we set September 14th through the 17th with the appliance pickup being on Thursday the 17th, if the council so wishes. And then a couple updates on our projects. 4th Avenue South, South 3rd Street Overlay Project is progressing along pretty well. Hartman actually is moving up the asphalt work, which was originally slated for beginning next Monday. So basically tomorrow, weather permitting, finish the milling operations tomorrow and do the patchwork on 4th and South 3rd Street. And then the asphalt work will follow up on Wednesday. And then after that, they plan on going out and do the prep work for the patchwork in the Four Winds subdivision, and then follow up the next day or yet that day with doing the asphalt patches out there. The Highway 18 improvement signals and turn lane project, we've got the eastbound left turn lane there at 24th Street poured here in the last 2 weeks, and then the off-ramp there at the interstate. KWS, the signal contractor, they were able to get 3 more of the traffic signal pole foundations constructed without hitting groundwater. They attempted the others that they hit water on last fall and encountered the same thing. So the engineers and contractors are working through a solution on, I believe there's 4 of them remaining to do. That's all I have.
Joe, what's the completion date on Highway 18-122?
I don't know the exact date. They just started counting days here, I think, 2 weeks ago, so I don't know how many working days they have left, but, you know, the little bit of contact I have had with the inspector out there, he said their hope is, you know, to have everything up and running by no later than Memorial Day.
Good. Okay. Council, any further questions for Mr. Weigel? I think we should take action on the solid waste pickup. What is it, 14, 15, and 16? And then the 17th will be the appliance date. Someone put that in a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Dana, that we approve the dates of September 14, 15, 16, and 17, with 17 being the appliance pickup date for your large item pickup. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say.
Aye.
Carried. Thank you all. Mr. Flory.
Just going to mention, if you've noticed, it's appreciably quieter in the council chambers. We had 2 motors replaced, circulation. recirculation motors for our boiler system in here that were vintage to the building. So 1964, 65 motors, 2 of them, and had them replaced, much smaller units, but you probably can't even remember now, but there used to be like that, kind of that humming noise in the background. So we had some contractors in here this last week, and took them, I don't know, about 3 days, maybe 4, to get it all done, but significant improvement for sure. So slowly we're turning the last little things we can find from when this building was done, we're taking them out and putting in new stuff. So that may be the oldest component left. I'm not sure. So that was all I had.
Any questions, Mr. Flory, council?
I can remember this being lake lumber on this property, just FYI.
Anything else, council? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.